Okay, I guess this is the final. I think the last thing we were talking about was being in the box with my story. Um, wow, it just seems like it was so. It's like it was a blank, but it was actually all that time in between. Um, I think the box in the story is how you originally found root candy, right?
Right.
But how that pertained to my own cheating and how we all actually find a way to point to why we'll cheat or why we won't, stay still or why we can't be monogamous. Especially if you're going through this, is we find going back into our story, we find that we cheated ourselves out of something, or we tell ourselves we got cheated out of something, and that's our defense, or that's our line of why we cross that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So, like the last video, we wanted to start off where you were
in the box with
in
my
the
story.
box with your story.
And everybody's stories could be different. They're also unique, but we end up saying the same things on the inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
The not good enough, not important. I mean, you just have to kind of go off of what your actual individual story is. But then you start to see that, okay, since I didn't speak to anybody about it, I didn't get to express it and I didn't get to understand it. So my behavior could only reflect my story. Which we more times than not, if we found that, and boy, in connection, that just makes it that much more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like you have a question.
Well, I really wanted to keep. I don't want people to get lost. I want to finish
So
the
like
story.
a recap of.
Well, I don't want to recap. We want to finish the story.
Right.
So, where the change started, and how the change started, and why the change started. We didn't get to finish what brought you to the point of I don't want to be this person anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Because the common misconception out there is once a cheater, always a cheater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a shame that there's that mindset, I believe, in society, that once you're labeled a cheater,
Mm-hmm.
then there's an issue with trust there.
Right.
And I know that there was with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, obviously not now. But where, you know what I mean? What was it in you? What can people look for when they're with someone who's cheating? When they want to reconcile or when they want to come back? What do people look for to see that actual change in that person? Or instead of, nah, once a cheater, always a cheater, and I'm never going to trust you again.
Mm-hmm.
What can they look for in that person so they can understand that, it might be genuine. They
Right.
really might want to change and not do that anymore. Or I'm not seeing a change in them and I need to move on with my life because I'm worth more than this.
Well, for what would happen inside of me was, of course, the truth, right? And what happens is because if you're as a cheater, lying all the time becomes a constant. And the lies that you're actually telling to somebody you love or the lies that you actually kind of are defending, because you come up with this defense to keep lying, right? If they find out the truth, I'll lose them. If I find out the truth, I'll lose them. And the truth is kind of what sets you free. And as a planet, or even as a human being, we believe we can say, I love you, but I'm not going to tell you the truth. Right. And think that that's love.
Right.
So.
But I want to comment on that real quick. It's not that when that happens, it's not love. It's that we don't understand that it's not love. We're not doing that, or people aren't doing that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that when we had been in conflict, and you would say, well, if you're lying or covering, that you're not loving me, that's not love.
Right.
And I would get so defensive and be like, but I do love you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you would look at me and say, well, then how could you hurt me so bad?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we do hurt. You always hurt the ones you love, right?
Right.
The most.
Right.
And so I don't. What what happened in your life? Where did it go that got you to the place where you wanted to come out of that box?
I had nothing else to lose. I mean, once I lost you by just telling you the truth, my worst fear came to reality. So I had created my own reality of fear. I told myself if I ever told you the truth, or if I ever told anyone the truth, I would lose them forever. And what happened is it wasn't that I would lose you forever. I lost the part of me that told me that it was going to be forever. And it was almost like I got freed at the same time. Because if you came back, or if we ever came into contact again, I was wrong. And you fight your whole life telling yourself you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I believe that just telling the truth, and then what happened to me on the inside is it started to eat me alive. And I'm almost tearing up here, but it got to me to this space where I was like, wow, when I came out and told you, I remember my heart racing, and I remember feeling like, okay, I just did myself in. But I did myself in according to my own story. Mm. And I was cheating myself out of really finding out if somebody could really love the real me, if they knew me and the truth. And everybody does that. I mean, it's a common theme. That's how we all cheat, mm-hmm. right? We all cheat by believing that if we don't tell somebody the truth, if we don't tell people we love the truth, that they're not going to like us or they're not going to love us back. And as long as we're doing that, we're cheating on ourselves. People will take that kind of cheating and do other kinds of cheating. It may not necessarily be that they'll be with somebody else, but they will cheat themselves out of finding out if somebody could love them.
Right.
Love them to their truth. And, when we go in, like when we're doing root camps or when we're doing classes and, even when we're doing our coaching certification, we always have to go into that. We have to go find that space because everybody's doing it. And it's different for each person. Because in mine, I was telling myself, you couldn't possibly ever, accept me for who I really am. Mm-hmm. And as long as I was right, I was cheating.
Okay. So what were you going through physically? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. What were you going through physically?
Physically, I was going through, like, my heart was hurting. Mm-hmm. It was like, physically, I felt like I was going to, like, this was all tight. This was all tight. I don't want to say I was feeling sad, lonely, because those are identities that we create for what we actually experience in the body. In my body, I felt this trap, and then once I told the truth, I didn't feel trapped anymore. I just felt like all my pain was consuming me.
So you were depressed, or just hit rock bottom?
Yes. Okay, that's a good way to explain it. So now it was like my mind it was telling me, see, I told you, I knew this was going to happen. You were wrong the whole time. And I could hear it. And it was almost like I was standing up. I was standing inside myself listening to it, but not reacting to it. But I was reacting in the state that I was just so tired of hearing that voice. And that voice was just, now you're going to end up just like I told you would. And I was like, well, how did you tell me? It was almost like I could have a conversation with myself, because in connection to myself, if I'm disconnected in that space, I would have remained in disconnect in our connection, which was, I was right all along. But then there was a piece to that said, yeah, but you were right. You get to be right in this particular area. And my body said, and it was just like all of that pressure that I was putting on myself to keep all of those things hidden, I was trying to blame you for. And I couldn't blame you. I couldn't blame you anymore. I couldn't blame anybody I'd done anything to anymore. I couldn't blame my mom. I couldn't blame my dad. I couldn't blame anybody. It was just me and my story. And we do that when we carry too much past. You carry the way that you're going to try to cheat it. We all try to cheat our past. Don't get it twisted. I mean, everybody can point at you and say, well, yeah, you're a cheater. And yeah, a cheater's always a cheater. And as long as you label them that way, you get to feel right about yourself. And it doesn't feel very good to be right. It just doesn't. I mean, we see that more times than not. Somebody's not telling, oh, that's my twin flame, or I'm connected to this person, or I'm this or that. And they say to themselves, well, I'm not going to tell them the truth, but I love them unconditionally. Well, you don't even see your own condition. It's like, yeah, but that condition is going to be the one that haunts you in the end and the one that ends you in the end because you cheated yourself out of telling the truth to find out if you could be loved anyway. It's hard to be loved when you're telling yourself you're already, trying to dictate your outcome, or believe that whatever outcome you told yourself in your mind was going to be right. That's actually what happens to you. And it's challenging. It is challenging. I have to admit, though, that space, those 3 months, it was me finally being able to stay in my body and listen to everything I ever told myself. And that's what I meant by being in the box with your story, because you get to replay and listen to everything you told yourself. I mean, I was looking at it from my son's aspect. I was looking at it from your aspect. I was looking at it from my wife's aspect. I was looking at it from everybody's angle. And I was looking at my part and my behavior in it. And my behavior was already, it was designed, my behavior was designed for my story, which ultimately cheated me out of ever experiencing true love.
Wow.
Yeah, you tell us. Try waking up to that one.
So, what, for heaven's sakes, who forgot to turn off the bells and whistles?
Mm-hmm.
That was me.
No.
This time.
Okay.
So, what was it? Do you feel that? Because I did feel something in you, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was just this change in you. It was something that I felt.
Right.
But there was still myself saying he can't be trusted. He'll never be able to be trusted. Do you want to live your life always looking over your shoulder, always wanting to see what he's doing on his phone, always wanting to check his email? You know what I mean? Do I want to live the rest of my life with someone that I'm constantly going to have to worry about messing around?
Yes. And do you know what's interesting about that is what you felt on the inside? You felt me move that big, huge story out of my heart. And it was almost like you felt it open. And it was open because I didn't have to lie anymore. When you hide something that you're telling yourself on the inside, or you hide something that you're actually experiencing on the inside, and you don't tell the truth, remember, the main ingredient of trust is the truth. If you point at somebody and say, I don't trust you, most people will say, well, I don't believe anything they say. I think that they're lying. I think that they're lying. And when you look that person in the eyes and told them, I tell myself, you lied to me. That's telling the truth. There's you can't sugarcoat it. You can't make it black and white. This is not a gray area. It's the truth. If you don't tell the truth, you are cheating. And when you came back, all I could do is tell you the truth. To me, there was no other way for trust to ever be established without the truth. And you were allowed to ask me anything, and I had to. And it was just like my reaction, my ego, no longer knew how to go back into a story to lie. It only knew that I'm not going to be trapped in this box anymore. The truth is the truth. Whether or not it was going to hurt you, it was going to bring you closer to me because I didn't have a reason to lie. And, if you keep going deeper inside of that, even, I mean, it's amazing what you find out when you start allowing yourself to live the truth, standing in your truth. A lot of people can get that twisted. Standing in your truth isn't about what you say about another person. It's about what you say to yourself. And if you're not telling the truth about that, you're going to continue to keep chasing your tail thinking somebody else could save you. You are responsible for saving yourself. And in this case, the truth was the only thing that was saving me. And it was the only thing that was building my own trust in myself. So if I heard myself say, God, maybe I should call somebody, I'm feeling kind of lonely, there was that other voice behind me that says, you're not lonely. That's the story you're telling yourself. Make up the reasons why you're lonely. And I started really paying attention to that. Wanting to go out there, I started to listen to each individual thing that needed to tie me back the way I would hide or lie. Mm. It's impossible to do unless you really want to know the truth. If you want to know the truth about how you actually feel about yourself, in truth, you got to go back through your story. And it's not something that's easy to navigate because we all like to hide.
Was it hard to deal with my mistrust of you? Like, for instance, when you would call me, because at this point, I was separated, right? Towards your awakening, I was in the process of being separated. Although he was looking for a place to live and already staying in the basement, things like that. But the stories that what are you doing this? Oh, I've got a meeting. Yeah, okay, meeting. Mm-hmm. And send me a picture of the meeting, right? Mm-hmm. And you would send me a picture of the meeting, and I would be like, oh, okay, I don't know. That didn't seem to trigger you, and you didn't mind me that mistrust. You didn't get defensive when I was asking you for those things.
When I went into my story, I broke my triggers. Not the trigger. See, it would be hard to trigger me anymore because I was in there going, the truth. You have to remember, and then I would go back, well, she's not going to ever believe in me or trust me because of all the lying and all the cheating I did. And that itself was a lie. So I would hear, if you were like, where are you? I don't believe you. I accepted that you were telling me your truth. And then I was like, okay, so how do it wasn't like it was an extra step for me to tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. It became my step, right? Because you don't make it an extra step to tell somebody the truth. You're either going to walk the walk and talk the talk or don't. And in this particular case, I was walking the walk and talking the talk. Everybody has this form of hiding. And in this case, I went in to find out exactly why I was hiding anything.
So is cheating a side effect of hiding?
Cheating is a side effect of hiding, but cheating also comes from addiction. It's still a refusal to go into your pain. It's still a refusal to go into your hurt. It's creating aftermath of what you told yourself destroyed you. And most people don't want to go back into their pain, especially if they weren't the one that inflicted it on them. But what is the addiction or what is the cheating is you giving yourself the punishment of what you think that result was going to give you. Mm. I never could trust that somebody was going to love me completely. Just didn't believe it. So I would just get pieces to make up. And sometimes that, and the bigger part of that was the overcompensating love that I was getting from my father not being there and my mother being a stay-at-home mom, making up for him not being there. And then when she went off to work because he left, there was no void there. There was nothing that could fill that. And I told myself it was something in me. So no, it goes deep. But even beyond that, it goes even deeper than what I'm saying. And that falls into a whole other list of things that you do to yourself, that you cheat yourself out of. I think if there's anything I can tell you as in for this Memoirs of a Cheater, just to wrap this up, we don't cheat ourselves out of love as much as we cheat ourselves out of the truth. Mm. And as long as you're doing that, and people can make it about what this person, did this, or, that I've always keep drawing myself or attracting the same type of person. That's you cheating. You've already made the statement. I attract this is the kind of person that's always going to hurt me. You might as well just say, my arms are open to people to hurt me. Because you are going to call into the universe what you were saying in that statement, and you're tying it to a story. You can either choose to do that or not, but just know that You cheated you out of it. Nobody else did. Any other questions?
Hope that helped.
If not, it felt good because
Yeah.
once you get the truth out, and the truth, like I said, there's a deeper truth that your greater intelligence knows that you have told yourself stories about not to listen to.
Right.
So,
And I hope that it helped anyone who might be watching. When
don't
some-
cheat yourself out of connection to yourself. That's what you don't do.
Do you feel like you ever get judged, or that there are people out there who's looking and saying, yeah, it's a line of bullshit, and you know, he's dropping BS, and no, cheaters can't recover.
Cheaters, well, as long as you say that, you're going to make sure that they don't. I mean,
You're going to make sure you're right,
Yeah, you
and
have to
that
make
they
sure.
don't change.
Yeah, as long as you, and that's the mindset you're going to keep because there's something in you that's cheating you. So for me, I guess it's hard for me to see somebody's judgment. If they have a comment or they say something and it comes from judgment, I don't know it because I stopped judging myself. And that's where the truth falls into play. The truth is, I lived an entire life of judging myself and other people. But once you realize there's an off button, you don't know when it happens. You don't know when you're being judged. And I think, judgment is not about right. Well, it is. People make it about right and wrong, good and bad. But judgment is still, in so many different ways, permission to hide and lie. Because you don't judge somebody. You just don't walk around judging other people. You're doing it to you first. That's how you learn how to do it. Mm-hmm. And you learned how to do it very long time ago. And once you have to go all the way back and find that judgment and find out what you judged yourself about that really shouldn't have reflected on you, shouldn't have been about you, then you start to really find out why you hide and why you lie. But sometimes it's hidden. It stays hidden. I mean, we hear it all the time.
Do you feel that in relationship, once somebody cheats, that hurt is so detrimental, and then as time goes by and they keep beating the dead horse, well, you cheated, that it without that forgiveness, false forgiveness, I want to say, because there will be a time when I forgive you, but I'll never forget. And there's all that, but do you feel that the constant beating, you cheated, keeps the cheating continuing? Because I'm already being accused of it, I might as well.
Well, I think that's the truth, right? We're talking about how I got out of cheating. Mm-hmm. The truth was I didn't have a definition of forgiveness that made sense. The truth is I didn't. And I had that same definition of forgiveness. I forgive you, but I'll never forget. That's not forgiveness. And you got to properly define it in order to be it. So when I didn't, when I realized that was a big, huge chunk of why I kept cheating, is you can make the statement, I forgive you, but I won't forget. Tell the truth, that's not forgiveness. So once I realized that, I realized, okay, what is it that I am giving to myself? And I couldn't find anything that made sense.
If you're in a situation where you have been hurt by cheating, or we definitely have been there, but we definitely have programs that will that can help you and the person who's doing the cheating or has done the cheating. That's why we're here. But I hope this video series was valuable and can reverse some stereotypes of once a cheater, always a cheater, because I don't know anybody as faithful as you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean,
But
it's just
I do have to add this because this was only possible because of your compassion, Jerry.
hmm,
Even though you did shut the door, you did walk away. If you didn't do that, that story would have still been able to just hide like in the cracks, which usually is what happens. It hides in the cracks until something happens and triggers it again. But when you came back, I was accepting because you took enough time. You know, it's like what, 3-4 months, but it was enough time for me to go. I will never blow this chance if I could ever have a chance again. I said that to myself. If I could ever have a chance and you come back, I will accept you however you accept me. And I wasn't looking for us to be together because I knew that we were together even in the silence just as much as we were in communication. And that silence was important. But even more important when you came back, how you communicated and the fact that you kept questioning to find out if the truth was going to come out. And even when you told me that you didn't believe me, not pushing further to see if I was going to have a reaction, and you might have been, but I wouldn't have been able to tell because I just didn't know how to. It was almost like all the ways that I could lie were just ripped from me, and it was ripped from me for myself. In the fact that you gave me an opportunity, and I didn't feel tested and tried because I understood why I would be. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if it weren't for you having that compassion, even staying with who you were with, and me, and just going, you didn't say to me, I knew you're going to find somebody else. You just said, you know what? I'm connected to you, so no matter what, I'm going to need to know the truth about you. And then, I think it was your turn, right? It was definitely your turn. So, and you had to go through what I went through, but it was dragging me through it at the same time. So, but it was beautiful, either way you look at it.
It brings me to the conclusion of the fact that we've actually had a few inquiries of hey, don't you think don't you think it's codependent, or don't you think we get codependent mostly, that we spend literally 24 hours a day together? And I've been asked, is that a mechanism in me that keeps my mind shut down from maybe you cheating? And here we sit with our computers and our one cell phone. We have one cell phone. So it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like I have to hack into your stuff because all of our stuff is right here, and all of our passwords are the same, and all of our stuff is open, and we're together all the time. I've been asked that question: is that a mechanism in me, a safety mechanism? And it's absolutely not. It's just a very free way to be in union. It doesn't. I don't have to be sitting next to you 24 hours. I want to be sitting next.
Right.
To you.
That's
a different. When we we eat dinner, or we'll sit down and watch TV, or we're doing yard work, or we're swimming, or we just went to a concert. I mean, we're doing all of this together, and all the time, and we're not at each other's throats all the time. But it isn't codependent at all. I mean, I like it. There are times when I'll run to the store, or I'll go, visit my grandkids or my daughter, and but there are times when you go, what I mean? Or there are times when we have to, do things, separate. And I enjoy that, and I embrace those times when I have my moments. If you go to bed a little bit earlier than me, or if I go to bed a little bit earlier than you, and it's never any more than a half an hour or 45 minutes. And my times in the mornings when you're sleeping, I'm up with Cameron. That's an hour of time of reflection, basically. And it's not codependent at all.
No, but I guess maybe this is a question for you then. Does it feel more free to no longer be alone with your thoughts?
Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Because that's literally
Yeah.
how people cheat themselves out
It
of
is.
love
Yeah.
and out of connection, out of anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people look at us and they go, "You guys are together all the time, you know? Don't you get sick of it?" Of course you do. But she doesn't keep it in her mind. She says it out loud, and we respect each other for that, and we love each other through that.
Mm-hmm.
And see, the thing is, if you spend a lifetime of being alone with your own thoughts and you keep those to yourself, you've cheated yourself out of letting somebody love you for who you could be and should be.
Mm. It's it's very interesting that I don't know. It was a couple months ago, and your son was actually here, and you weren't here because you had to run to the post office or something. And he was like, where the hell? He's been gone for an hour. Where's the post office? 10 minutes away. Where is he? So I'm like, well, I don't know, but here's my prediction. Stopped at the post office, right? And he stopped at CVS to pick up the prescriptions, and he ran into the gas station, and he should be pulling in any minute. And when you got home, I was like, where don't you go? Oh, I stopped at the post office, and then I ran to CVS and got the prescriptions. He handed me the prescription. And then I had to stop and get some gas at the gas station, and here I am. And he just looked at me like I was, you know what I mean? Like I knew where you were going. But there's only a few places and that's what I told him. I said, there's only a few places he would go. So
Right.
It's not like he's out, running around.
Right.
We're meeting somebody at CVS. He'll be right here.
But we know each other's thought process so
Yeah.
well. We expose them so beautifully, and it's not something that's easy to do. You kind of have to go in and find yourself to figure out why you haven't done this. But when we do that, it's so free.
Mm-hmm.
It's so free, and it's not like you want to get involved and get in between my mind and my own and then myself thoughts and try to be the referee.
Mm-hmm.
You'll let me stand there and go through that just as I'll let you do that. But we don't make each other responsible for it because we know the truth is what we're searching for when we do it. We love you guys.
We do.
And hopefully this
Send us
will be
questions.
here.
Put questions in the
Absolutely.
comment down here. I'm going to do what my 9-year-old does. Subscribe to our channel. And hit subscribe and like and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
And we're sorry it takes so long in between these.
Yeah.
It's not
Very,
believe us.
very
we
busy.
really want to do it. So we're looking forward to hearing from you guys, and you guys know that we're here. You need us. Talk to you soon.